After several months with no developer updates, the Coral Island team is breaking their silence with some major news. We have an updated roadmap sharing what's in store for the game, and it's full of huge surprises and even more mysteries. Hello friends, Sarah Sunstone here, bringing you the latest gaming news with Sunnyside Up. Today is March 26th, 2026. Stairway Games, the developers behind Coral Island, shared their first official development update of the year. This gives us some insight into where the highly anticipated Kids Grow Up update fits into their plans, but also reveals all new features that will be coming to the game. Please shine the lovely like button if you appreciate being kept in the loop with exciting updates like these, and make sure to subscribe to my channel with your notifications on so you don't miss out. Otherwise, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So let's start off by addressing the most major change from previous roadmaps that have been shared with us, which is that the Kids Grow Up update has been moved from version 1.3 to version 1.4. The team shared that they want to take the time to add more content and make sure it meets their expectations before releasing it to players. In the previous roadmap, they did share that the Kids Growing Up update is a huge update because it actually requires over 700 unique portraits that all need to be hand-drawn by just one single artist. This, in combination with likely many other more complex systems, would likely contribute to this version of the game being one of the more ambitious updates, and therefore it makes sense that they need a bit more time for this one. I know many of you are very excited for the Kids Grow Up update and are maybe even waiting to jump back into the game until that update comes, but it's still to come. They're working on it, and what's more is that we're actually getting another update ahead of this one now. And this update seems like it's going to have some awesome new features. So with this change, version 1.3 will now be called the Ocean and Kisses update. And so far, we know it includes 3 major categories of features. The first being 2 new dateable characters, the second being the Merfolk Festival, and the third being tons of quality of life improvements. So let's talk about these features one by one before going into the rest of the roadmap, because this is so surprising and really exciting. Now, we did know that the Merfolk Festival was on the horizon. This was originally planned for the 1.3 update, so that is staying the same. We don't really have any information on what the Merfolk Festival is going to entail, other than the fact that it will take place in the Merfolk Kingdom. But, based on the other festivals in the game, we could speculate that it will likely have a main event, maybe some mini games, maybe a special booth where you can do a little bit of shopping, and of course, lots of charming character interactions to enjoy. I am really excited for this one. I always love a festival, and I feel like it will be such a great addition to the Merfolk Kingdom, and hopefully we'll also be able to learn a little bit more about the community under the sea in this event. Now, the quality of life improvements could honestly mean anything. It's very vague, very general, but what I will say is that I find most of the time when Stairway implements quality of life improvements into the game, they often take into account player feedback, and for me at least, they often introduce things that I didn't even know I needed, and I end up absolutely loving. I will also note that in past quality of life focused updates, they've also thrown in other little tidbits here and there. So probably just lots of surprises and awesome improvements to look forward to. Now, the main big surprise here that I really want to talk about is the fact that they're going to be introducing 2 new dateable characters in the next update. I honestly thought they were done with dateables because there's so many already to choose from. We are honestly so spoiled in this game when it comes to romance and dateables. But yeah, they're adding 2 new dateables. Now, these could be new characters, or they could be characters that we already have in the game that will now become dateable. I personally feel like it's going to be the latter. I think these are going to be 2 characters that already exist in the game, but this is just my speculation. Now, we have one little hint to go off of, okay, in the roadmap. There is a bit of a tease, a bit of a mysterious graphic they have going on. So here on the left, we have a more masculine figure that is shaded in blue, and in the background, there are blue waves. On the right-hand side, we have more of a feminine presenting character, shaded in this kind of rosy burgundy color, with a pufferfish balloon, or maybe an actual pufferfish, in the background. Even further, This character is wearing lipstick, as is the pufferfish in the background. So I think these are hints as to which characters will be romanceable. This is all speculation, okay, just based off of my 5 years of covering this game. I would definitely be willing to guess that one of the characters will be Reina, who will become romanceable. Without giving too many spoilers in case you're still earlier in the game, it just makes sense. As for the other character, this one's a little bit more mysterious. The waves could be suggesting someone who has a connection to the ocean, or could be suggesting that it's actually one of the merfolk. I have shared this in previous videos and live streams that I would like to see another more masculine merfolk character added to the roster, just because we have 2 females and 1 male. It would be nice to have it a bit more balanced. So this would definitely be a very welcome addition if this is where they're going with it. If it is, I mean, maybe we'll finally have justice for Agung. Maybe it's an all-new character. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, so we will just have to wait and see. But this is very exciting, very unexpected, and now I'm wondering how many of you are gonna have to start a new playthrough to romance one of these 2 mystery characters. So that's 1.3, which brings us to 1.4. which is now the Kids Grow Up update. So this feature was actually initially unlocked via a Kickstarter stretch goal. That's part of the reason why it's so much further down the pipeline than some other things, is just because it wasn't part of the plans for the base game, but it was unlocked due to community funding. So from what we know, how this feature is going to work is that now all the kids, so including the kids that you may choose to have as the player, and also the children around the island, will grow up to their teenage years. The feature is said to include additional stories and relationship development. There will be new schedules, dialogues, and more. And that's where those portraits come into play, because for the player's children, where you can have up to 2, there is such a variety of children's designs that they could have left without a portrait, but they're going the extra mile with this. So that's really awesome. The children are supposed to have their own personalities and interests, and apparently you can even influence this as they grow up or let them discover it on their own. From what they've previously said, the children's characters and traits are not exactly tied to the spouse that you marry, but it would be interesting to see if that does come into play at all. So as you can imagine, this is a major feature in the game. It is still on the horizon. It will be arriving after this next version, and they're leaving the rest of this update a bit of a mystery. I think that's fair because they might not know exactly what else will be ready in time for this specific update, because they might not know exactly when this update will be ready. So then that brings us to update 1.5, which is the first we've ever heard of something beyond kids growing up. And this update is titled the Pokio Update. This is incredibly exciting and so mysterious. I mean, the only thing listed here is Pokio. For a little bit of added context, in case you're unfamiliar, Pokio is the city in the game where you as a player arrive from. So this is the big city that you left behind to start your new life in Coral Island. The fact that we might be able to go back to Pokio is very interesting. Could this tie in those letters from our old boss that we receive in the mail? Could we encounter Karen in Pokio? Maybe there's other characters we've bumped into that actually live in Pokio that hasn't exactly been confirmed, like Derek, for example. Maybe we'll reunite with family members like our grandma. This really just opens a huge door of possibilities. And I somewhat feel that this might actually be the implementation of island hopping. So once again, in case you're unfamiliar, back at the Kickstarter, one of the stretch goals that was unlocked was island hopping. This was the very final stretch goal, and there wasn't really a lot of information shared about it other than the concept art, but a city-like landscape was shared even back then. So it could be that this is the beginning of the feature's implementation, or it could be that they're going with more of a story-focused approach and going for quality over quantity. So they might even want to just do a full-fledged kind of Pokio island hopping back to Pokio experience and make that more rich and full of content compared with spreading it out over a bunch of little islands. Since we haven't really heard much about island hopping in a while, I'm thinking this must be it, or at least the beginning of it. I'm really excited for what this could mean. I feel like it makes sense. especially because there's so many questions that feel like a little bit unanswered throughout our life on Coral Island. They're not like major question marks, but they are those little things, right? Like, is our boss gonna try to find us? What's gonna happen with Karen? Like, things like that. I think it would be really nice to have some story continuation here. So I don't know if that's what they're planning, but I would love to see it. I would love to see like some shops that we could go to in Pokio. I would love to see, honestly, the sky could be the limit. So let me know what you would love to see in Pokio. I feel like the fact that it would be a city opens a door of possibilities. Also, I'm just thinking about this now. Some of the features that I had imagined would be part of the island hopping experience, they've actually already brought into the game. The savannah being a prime example. That could have been its own island, but I actually like that they connected it with Coral Island. So we still have that distinct biome with new gameplay and features. But again, it kind of just makes sense with all the other systems that they've designed. So yeah, the city seems perfect. Can't wait to see what's in store here. And other than that, they have a bunch of question marks under updates both 1.4 and 1.5. Now there are some announced features that we know will be coming at some point that could easily fit into any of these little question mark spots. So that would include the jealousy system, which is confirmed to be in the works, and an update. It is confirmed to have a toggle. So you'll be able to toggle the jealousy system on or off. Don't panic. You'll be okay. I think it'd be so interesting to have it on though. I would just love to see how that all unfolds. Manual saves is also another feature that's been announced that could fit somewhere in this roadmap under the question marks. I think many of us are very excited for that so that we don't have to go to bed every single time we want to save. We'll be able to save at different points. Some other more minor features that they have plans for include drop-in and drop-out multiplayer, emotes to use in multiplayer or hopefully also just on your own, underwater marriage, and family and kids hanging out. So again, any of those features could easily fit into updates 1.4, 1.5. Could also be things that we haven't even heard of yet, that haven't been announced. So all of this is very exciting. And luckily, the team is planning to share even more details on what's coming in 1.3, including the release date for the 1.3 update in their next developer blog, which will be published sometime in May. So definitely stay tuned for that. I, of course, will cover it as soon as it drops, and we will get more information on what's coming up next for Coral Island. So there you have it, friends. That's the latest news from Coral Island. Again, I am so super excited about this, but please feel free to share your thoughts with me down in the comments. Anything and everything. You know I always love hearing from you. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you all. And until next time, take care.